Ethereum holders, beware. There is a major scam going on today. We're going to break it down and tell you how you can protect your funds from attack. Also, with the halving incoming, will Trump be forced to dance to Bitcoin's tune? Liberalism is in full swing in the UK, it appears, and the market is booming. Let's get cracking in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live for you in the studio, Thursday, July 25th, 2019, foul year of our Lord, your daily source for market updates, news, and sentiment for traders. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at CrackingCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you're watching from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or of course on Roku at the Investor News channel. If you want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in the live chat, and hit the thumbs up button. We've got a fantastic show for you guys today, but before we begin, as always, today's episode is brought to you by the Premium Trading Group. If you are tired of Telegram groups leaving you holding the bag and you want to trade with a professional team of individuals who provide their education in a no-nonsense manner, then head over to premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Let us walk you through the Pathways to Profit course and teach you how to build your own verifiable technical strategy from the ground up. Learn how we manage our money, our risk, and our emotions, and benefit from our supportive community of traders and investors to get started today. That's premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. And as I said, we've got a fantastic show for you guys today. So much to talk about. All right. Want to give a huge shout out to our current Discord Nitro boosters. We are up. Big shout out to Mr. Hut QC. Thank you so much for giving us your support, my good friend. You've been with our community for quite a long time, and I just want to let you know that we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the Discord Nitro boost. If you guys would like to boost our server, making it better for everybody, then you can do that over at discord.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Yesterday's YouTube crypto comment winner was Paul Bob the Builder. I did not get a chance to get a hold of you this morning, Paul. I will do so very soon after the show. I've been on the phone all morning talking to people across the globe. It's been a busy, busy morning for me. So let's get right into the stream. Thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate that. So let's get right into the live scene and give away some crypto as we do every single day on this channel. Apparently, I'm going to have to go to this button. Let's go over to the live scene while we wait for me. All right. Yesterday's video was altcoins boom as we prepare for the biggest investment opportunity of our lives. If you did not get a chance to watch yesterday's video, I highly recommend you go check out the clips, especially about the investment opportunity of our lifetimes. I really do think, based on the Fed's policy, upon central bank policies around the world, over the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to see unprecedented growth in our economies. I don't care what the doomsayers say. I am doubling down on my investments. I am doubling down on my trading. I think that this is the most exciting time to be alive, and I think that the opportunities are immense for anybody who is serious, who is disciplined, who is dedicated, and is investing and trading for the long haul. All right, so let's load up these comments. We've got 28 potential winners. You know, guys, I want to give a big shout out. The engagement on our shows continues to grow every single day. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for the support. You guys continue to comment on the videos. You guys continue to subscribe, continue to share our content. Thank you so much. We are growing at an unprecedented rate because of you guys. So we're going to randomly pick a winner, and the winner, well, Cracking Crypto, thank you again so much for commenting on your own video. You are the winner. Get a hold of me in the Discord. No, I'm just kidding. We'll pick another winner. Wow, me again? Mark Cullen. Hey, thank you so much for the support, my good man. He asks, great show, Justin. Bring on some alt action. Quick question. If you had an option to take redundancy with a $100,000 package, would you take it and invest a good portion of it in cryptocurrency? I'm going to refer to my answer to your question. So I want to quote it. So let me just pull it up real quick, my good friend. Of course, Mark, if you get a hold of me in the Discord at JustinWise5696, I will tip you some crypto. Next month, I just want to make this announcement. So we're going to be showcasing the crypto that we're going to be giving away every month. The crypto that we give away every month is going to be a project that we like, that we believe in, that we're partnered with, that we are invested in ourselves personally. Next month, we're going to be giving away X42. We're going to be giving away $5 of X42 per day. So if you guys want to win that, just make sure to comment at the end of every video. You have an opportunity to win And we're going to be bringing Gabe from X42 back on as soon as we can. Make sure you guys go check out the previous cryptocurrencies with him to learn more about that project, or head over to x42.tech. All right, so my answer to your question was, and I quote, any large sum of money you want to make sure sets you up for financial freedom first. I would invest in passive income, dividends, make an emergency fund, invest in myself if there was a way to earn more income, such as schooling or certification. Then I would allocate the rest to savings and investment. Of course, which cryptocurrency would be a significant allocation. How much is pursuant to your risk tolerance? And I think that's important. You know, I talk about that on this channel so much. You're not going to find, and I know, and I think this is one of the reasons why we're so popular. I've been doing this for a long time. I have achieved financial independence by wisely investing, by wisely trading, and it is my earnest hope that I can teach everybody in this watching this show, that I can teach everybody that joins the group to learn to make trading their active form of income and to trade for a lifetime, how to look at money, how to look at finance in this age that we're in, where we have the unprecedented opportunity of cryptocurrency in front of us, and where we can wisely and intelligently take control of our money. It's about the mindset. Once you realize that you have the power to make money work for you, that you can make your decisions affect reality in front of you, that you don't have to run through life responding to crisis, that you can take control of your life via discipline, via proper mindset, via proper lifestyle, that you can take control of your life, and that you can influence your life and the course of your life through your actions in the market. And I think that acceptance of reality is very important for people, and one of the reasons why we are popular, because you don't hear that kind of stuff on other channels. You're either going to hear when moon, you're going to hear nonsense shilling, you know, the latest ICO scam. You're just going to hear a lot of stuff that is not designed to really help you out. We are focused here on long-term sustained growth, about proper mindset, and about having the winning mindset before you even step into the arena so that you are already set up for success. So whenever you get a large sum of money, any of you out there who are sitting on a large pile of cash, I know that this is going to be unpopular, but you should not put all that money in cryptocurrency. You should not. I love Bitcoin more than anybody else. I am bullish on cryptocurrency more than anybody else, but you would never, ever, 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 ever want to only hold one asset. As much as you might support Bitcoin, why should Bitcoin run your life? Because if you invest your entire savings into Bitcoin, then you are just relying, you are now dependent upon the market value of Bitcoin, right? You should build a diversified plan that protects you against any turn in the market through passive income, through dividends, through real estate, and through cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency can be a smaller portion of your allocation, and because of its explosive growth potential, still generate very good returns on your investment and set you up for life if you wisely manage your portfolio over the next 5 to 10 years. But if you don't diversify to some degree, if you don't set up an emergency fund, if you throw all your money into Bitcoin, you are going to be a degenerate gambler. Not because you're investing in Bitcoin, but because you're not taking any precautions to protect yourself against the volatility of the crypto market. Again, I love Bitcoin more than anything else. I invest in it every single month. I buy more Bitcoin for my portfolio every single month, but I protect myself by having a good balanced portfolio, making sure I have enough money in savings to protect myself should I incur any kind of downfall, any kind of windfall. And that's the first thing you should do for setting up your plan. That's what I recommend. Thank you so much, man. All right, let's get over into the charts and let me pull open all the stuff and talk to people's activity feed. I want to thank Rob Fay, so adorable, GC. Thank you guys so much for joining the community over there on YouTube. And Payday, thank you so much for joining the community over on Twitch, my good friend. It was a pleasure to talk to you this morning, if that is the same Payday. All right, hopefully my restream chat is coming in here correctly. I feel that it is not. So let me try refreshing it here. Try closing it and open it back up again. How you guys doing? Let me know in the chat. And as soon as I can see it, I'll comment on it. Yeah, it doesn't like it for some reason. Well, okay, we're just gonna onward, Christian soldiers, onward, right? Let's just make this baby smaller, and I can count on YouTube to be restreaming everything. Dutch Crypto Review, Jonathan Falter, DIY Guy, User GT. Good to see you guys. All right, get stream labels open too. Okay, actually, I'll just pop this chat out. Great. All right, thank you guys for dealing with that. Yeah, I should make a statement about that, actually. You guys are right. I do want to give my best well wishes to the family of Tyler Jenks. I'm very sorry for your guys' loss. Tyler Jenks was a very intelligent individual. He was a great investor. A lot of people looked up to him in this space, and although I didn't personally know him and I wasn't a subscriber of his content or his analysis, again, respect him for the man that he is. So, again, well wishes with Tyler Jenks' family, and our condolences at Kraken Cryptocurrency to your loss. Okay, so here we are on the 4-hour chart. Everything looks good. Let's go to the daily and talk about Bitcoin's price action today. I don't think my soundboard works anymore. I updated my Go XLR software, so I'm going to have to re-record those todays in Bitcoin. Anyways, here on the daily time frame, we've got a lot of Bitcoin bulls being very excited about this bottom movement. Again, as I said yesterday, still in my original position. I am still short Bitcoin. I have different entry positions on different exchanges. On the Z19 contract, I've been short hedged for quite a while. On ByBit, where I have my full risk position, I have a larger position, obviously at a slightly smaller entry. Still in the green on that as well. Everything is working out quite well. There are a couple positions that I'm underwater on. We did end up taking quite a few altcoin trades yesterday. I believe 6, and I know that 4 of those have hit and entered into profit. Trailing stops have been hit. We got good run-ups. DGD was another big winner of ours that had a good, nice spike to the upside. Wan Chain was a good one as well. OMG, we took a trade on. That's actually still an open and active trade. So overall, alts did have a nice little pop-up as we expected. Last night, really starting last night, and you know what's interesting? I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I was feeling this morning when I woke up and went to the charts, like everything had frozen, right? Like it seems to me like the charts have not moved for the last 6 hours. You know, it's like everything is still hanging in the air as the bulls and the bears battle it out. Now, I know that I'm over dramatizing the situation, and I know that obviously there have been movements in different coins, but if you just look at the majority of the majors, it's almost like the screen is just frozen. You know, things were moving up last night. Most altcoins were moving up last night, and then there was like just this big death dump over a very short period of time, over about an hour. I was doing some conference calls last night, and they're still there. You know, I was expecting to wake up this morning and see big movements in one direction or the other, either follow through on the bearishness from the alts, which would typically lead to Bitcoin moving up. But it's like Bitcoin did move up, they went down, and then it's just like this yo-yo effect. It just seems like the charts are frozen in place, but still a lot for us to talk about. On the daily time frame, where we have Bitcoin breaking down below the 55 exponential moving average for the second time. That is our secondary baseline. This is a very bearish signal to me. It signals weakness of the bulls. It signals the strength of the bears. It signals the ability of sellers to consistently push price lower and lower. And it doesn't matter if we have a big volatile reaction off of the bottom. The reversal trade is not the trade to take. The trend following trade is the trade to take. Now, am I going to recommend that you attempt to short the bottom where we are currently sitting at? I would never do such a thing. What I'm saying is that you should devise your own entry and exit system that is going to tell you what is the correct side of the trade to be on. At the moment, and again, this can be invalidated if we do get bullish volume and start breaking up above levels of resistance. But for the moment, as it has been for quite a while, ever since price broke below the daily baseline, price has been bullish. The trade to take has been to the downside. Was there a good reversal long opportunity back up to retest resistance? Yes, there was, but I do not see how this is going to be any different until we actually break above resistance. People are going to say, well, this is our second and third touch of resistance, so typically when you touch resistance, you break it. The thing is, the same thing can also be said for support. So if we get a lower high here, as we've consistently gotten lower highs, and then test support for the next time, that will be a third test of support. And that is when you will see all the perma bulls kind of step out of the arena and be very quiet, and they won't make the logical assertion that, oh, if you test resistance, it's going to break. Well, if you test support the same amount of times too by your logic, then it's likely to break as well. So that's definitely where my mind is at. I am still looking for a downside trade. I'm still in a downside trade. I'll be happy to take the long if we end up breaking back above a level of resistance here and putting in a nice signal from Wada-Atar or Minx. But as we can see, Wada-Atar is still bearish with a rising explosion level. Minx is still bearish with a crossover up into the static line. But since we're not taking a continuation trade, actually a continuation trade was on the table on this candle right here. So if you would have taken the short sell off of that trade via a continuation, you would want to be looking to take your profit should we be closing with Minx inside of the static line today pursuant to the strategy. But since we're following a 12-hour primary signal to the downside, we haven't had an invalidation of that yet. Ken D says, I went to bed last night, woke up 7 hours later, and Bitcoin had rallied $2. Yeah, big rally, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. Respect for Tone Vase, but I was, I actually made a video on our channel that's pretty popular, because I as well used to use the TD sequential indicator. I'm very fluent with it. I used it for quite a long time in the equities market. And again, I've always recommended using JD Lim's version of TD sequential, which I think is a fantastic implementation. You guys can go check out his Telegram channel for access to that indicator. Again, no promises. I know that individuals have had trouble getting access to it later because it is a permissioned a script over there on TradingView, and he used to be very quick about giving people access. But I actually think that I might have had a negative effect on people getting access to that, because after making that that Trading Crypto 101 video on TD Sequential, his Telegram has blown up. So JD, if you're watching, I'm sorry about that, man. I didn't mean to inundate you with requests. Anything I can do to help you out, make sure to get a hold of me, man. In Telegram, I'm in your group, and we can try to figure that out, what we can do, what's a good resolution of that, because I think people want access to an amazing tool. So whether you want to charge for it or whether you're going to make a free version, whatever you want to do, man. But the people are clamoring, my friend. Yeah. Ferguson, you have a fantastic point, right? This is the jaws of the crocodile that I've talked about before, right? Where price is consolidating between the 13 and the 55 exponential moving average. Now, this to me is a bearish sign. When I see it coming out of consolidation after a significant sell-off period, as we've seen with a lot of altcoins, then that is a bullish sign to me, because you see price go sideways for an extended period of time. You see it have the ability to break up past something like its 9 daily exponential moving average and above its 13 daily exponential moving average, and into that realm of consolidation between the secondary baseline, acting as your trend direction, your ultimate trend direction, and hinting at that daily crossover signal. And then I like to see a nice breakup above the 55. Generally, we get the long signal before that, but when we're coming out of a bear market, I do like to see a further level of consolidation like that for a nice big trending movement, because what often follows that is good bullishness for quite a while, and the trend is to the upside. But when it's coming off the heels of a bull market, in this case, price trending to the upside for an extended period of time, and then we see a distributive pattern, as we just saw over here with this price action for several weeks, and then we have price trending to the downside, we have consolidation at a lower level. This is my view, is distribution. This is redistribution. I think that all the Bitcoin moving to exchanges, as indicated by whale alerts, if you guys are watching, that is indicative of this as well. I do think that we are going to see more downside. Again, I don't try to predict the markets. I just trade in the direction of the dominant trend. And due to that, due to my system, I am a consistently profitable trader. So it doesn't matter to me if price rallies. It doesn't matter to me if it matters, excuse me. Don't think that it doesn't. But I'm absolutely comfortable with being wrong. I've come on the show and been wrong many, many times, because I'm not sitting here trying to predict what price will do. I am fully aware of what it is most likely to do, because it is statistical probabilities, and we have to derive a statistical edge from the market, because every moment in the market is unique. But I am trading to the downside. I think the trade is still the trade to the downside. I think that we're most likely going to see rejection from our daily baseline, and it won't be until we close above our daily baseline with volume, with momentum, with a convincing signal, that I will be looking to take longs. Now, there are lower time frame opportunities. Remember that if we are going to be taking those on the hourly, on the 4 hour, for example, then we need to be reducing our risk because we are trading against the dominant trend on the daily, which is to the downside. So if we're looking to take bullish trades, we need to be doing something like 50% of our regular position size or 50% of whatever our calculator tells us to take the trade for pursuant to our risk factor. Or again, we just don't look to take those trades. Again, it's been more profitable statistically ever since we broke below the daily baseline to only look for shorts, as it always is when we do such a thing. So do we miss out on the reversal longs? Correct. But remember, reversal longs are not our trades. Those trades are for gamblers. Those trades are for whales. We are retail traders, and we take the statistically likely trades. Okay. When you admit you're wrong, we know you're legit, bro. Only Kirby can flip heads an infinite amount of time. Shade thrown, I do believe, man. Shade thrown. Okay, so we got a lot to get over. It's 12:24, so let's go through the lower time frames here and look for potential setups. On the 12-hour chart, what do we see? We do see Wada Atar. If we were using Wada Atar Explosion as our initiator, we are getting the signal to exit the trade on this nice pump up to the upside. But look at where we are. We are running and butting right into the daily baseline, and we are currently getting rejected from the daily baseline. So if we were looking for a 12-hour setup, of course, here is the original short signal on Minx. On this 12-hour candle, we would have been able to take the trade on this candle and price moving to the downside, a tidy about 5.5%, about 4.8, 5.5%. So again, lots of opportunity for profit within that range, depending on the ATR multiple that you're using. And again, price pulling back pretty much to your entry. So again, even like right now, literally, you are back at your entry. So if one was feeling unconfident in their short position, if they took the position on the 12-hour, there's no risk for you guys to exit the risk to your short. Stay in your hedge short, so be hedging the USD value of your account short, so that way it doesn't matter whether price goes up or moves down, you retain your dollar value, and then wait for a clearer signal if you are feeling anxious or not. For me, and again, because this is the only reason I'm saying this is not subjectivity, this is a signal from the 12-hour time frame to exit a position if you are using Wada Atar Explosion as your primary indicator. Since we are not, since we are using Minx, and since we are taking a Wada confirmed signal, we would be looking at something like RVGI to tell us to get out of the trade because we haven't had any of our early exits trigger. Unless, of course, you are using, if you are a newer member, if you are using Minx crossing into static as your exit indicator for the guys in the group watching. Then in that case, again, you're getting the exact same signal on the candle close that we had at 7 o'clock this morning. So, no subjectivity in PTP, but again, it depends on your implementation of your strategy and what you're using as your primary entry indicator and how you're structuring your system, all pursuant to the course. So in this particular situation, for me, I'm going to hold on to my position. I don't feel insecure about it. And if price moves to the upside, then I will most likely wash out a little bit of my altcoin profit that I incurred from yesterday that I'm still incurring today, the last time I checked 3 commas. And everything's absolutely fine. And again, looking for that signal to flip to the upside if we get such a thing. But price to me seems very weak right now, and I'm not looking for an explosive movement unless we get one, though. Every moment in the market is unique. So again, we react based on candle closes, and we switch if necessary. But again, still in my short position. Price is bearish. The daily trend is bearish. We are coming off a not so recent, far away 12-hour close. We have a lower high ever since our 12-hour baseline cross under, which occurred just a few days ago, about a week ago in 12-hour time. So again, a lot of stuff pointing to the downside. If we go to the 4-hour, again, price closing back above the primary and the tertiary baseline on the 4-hour. So as I posted this morning in the members lounge, here is kind of worst case scenario. I guess what I would be looking for is I would be looking for potentially price to climb intraday, maybe about 3 to 4% to tag the primary baseline. If we go to the, that's the primary baseline on the daily chart. If you go to the 12-hour, that would be similar to the tertiary, maybe the secondary on the 4-hour or on the 12-hour chart. And on the 4-hour chart, if we were to come up and tag the secondary baseline, that would be about 3%, okay? So again, looking for that same level of resistance to continue to act as resistance until proven otherwise. You short resistance until proven otherwise. So if you were looking to get into a short, that is the area I would be targeting, somewhere around that 10,270. If you were looking for that for that reversal trade off the secondary baseline on the 4-hour, which is congruent with the daily baseline as well, the primary baseline on the daily, or be looking for that breakdown trade closing below the 4-hour baseline here, or the day. Of course, we're already below the daily baseline. So if you're looking for a 4-hour signal, be looking for that momentum trade to the downside with the close below the 4-hour baseline. All right, so that would be my interpretation. Bullseye, good to see you, my good friend. So let's get over to Ethereum USD. And Ethereum USD putting in a little bit more volatility, but again, stalling out over the last pretty much 12 hours. So it's very interesting as I went to bed last night and woke up to the charts looking exactly the same. So here we are on the daily time frame, and we can see that Ethereum, after a big move to the downside, is putting in what I believe is a redistribution pattern. What is a consolidation pattern? No matter what your directional bias is. Again, when we use the terms redistributive or distributive, that is a bearish pattern, meaning sellers are offloading, and eventually buyers will get exhausted because there is more selling pressure than buyers, and price will continue to drop. The only thing keeping price where it is buyers stepping in and attempting to buy the dip, but there is not enough of them in a distributive pattern. Again, you never know which way, whether something is distribution or accumulation until after the breakout, okay, unfortunately. So that is the problem with using subjective methods of analysis, but it is important that we use the right terms when describing our market structure. So again, rejection from the daily baseline currently. Let's go to the 12-hour. We see that Wada-Atar explosion is bearish. If we, however, look where we got the original short signal back over here on the 11th of July, 2019, riding price down, Wada-Atar explosion did tell us to go ahead and get out of our short trade on the previous daily candle close. Again, that is a beautiful, very profitable short trade that we were able to catch. And Mink still below zero, curling up toward the zero line. I don't see the breakout trade yet. Again, we need to see price prove that it is bullish before we be looking for a long. So this is going to be very congruent with with my Bitcoin analysis as well. Still bearish until proven otherwise. Going down to the 12-hour time frame. Again, we do have price breaking above the primary baseline and putting in a long signal with Wada-Atar confirmation. So where could we see price likely to go over the course of the 12-hour? Ethereum, and again, I'm watching Ethereum because I think that Ethereum is going to be a bullwether on whether or not Bitcoin's price is going to be able to move. Because if Ethereum is able to not reject from this slight break above the 12-hour baseline and actually put in a little bit of bullish behavior, then I could see Ethereum doing a 5 to 10% move over the next couple of days. And if that were to happen, then I'm going to have to step out of my short for a while, ride the trade to the upside, and wait for my opportunity to re-enter into the short. So more of a more desperate last gasp before we do see a lower price potentially. So what I would be looking for is Ethereum to be a bullwether for whether or not we should be exiting our Bitcoin positions and potentially flipping the script. And again, there's no harm in sitting in cash, i.e. sitting in a leveraged short position, whether it's leveraged or not, but sitting in a short position equal to your capital balance to preserve your USD quality, to preserve your USD quantity, and taking the cash operating basis trade on Ethereum. Because just because you're short on Bitcoin doesn't mean you can't take a long on another account. It doesn't cancel out. You're just operating from cash, right? So that means that your entire account balance is not at risk, just the allocation toward the Bitcoin trade or the long trade in this potential. So going down to the 4-hour, we did get a long signal over here on Ethereum at about 2000 UTC time right here. Good trade to the upside again, coming into rejection off the secondary baseline right there on the 4-hour chart. We do see consolidation again. This is that jaws of the crocodile, the exact same thing. So time frame matters. So on the 4-hour, we do see the opportunity for a little bit of bullish behavior. I think that if we were to get a bullish breakout of this 4-hour jaws of the crocodile pattern, if we go over to the 12-hour, we get a very likely target with a secondary baseline directly overhead. Now that's quite a bit of ways away. It's about 11%. But again, that is not going to be a whole lot. Coming down to the daily, if we go to the daily, that is going to be basically, that's a little bit more than a retreat. So what could I see daily time frame? I could see a wick doing that. And if we do close, if that does happen, then that would switch Ethereum from bearish to most likely bullish, honestly, because you do see Wada-Atar volume waning. So it is going to be very easy to flip green. Bitcoin's a little bit more tricky. So if you were looking for a long trade, I would be keeping my eyes on Ethereum, even though it is the laggard. The technicals are looking better. And again, I'm still short on Ethereum, but I'd be more willing to flip on Ethereum if those conditions that I just pointed out were met, because I think there is more potential. Whereas with Bitcoin, I think that it's going to be a little bit more sluggish this time around. All right. Mario says, what I don't understand is why having more leverage doesn't make my position more profitable at my exit price. So the reason why adjusting leverage does not make your position more profitable, so let's start off with the correct answer. It can, if you use that leverage to take on a larger position size. You're only going to make profit off of your position size, and you can take the position size that you can take is going to be related to how much leverage you are using. So if you use 10x leverage to put on a 10 times larger position size than your account, then you are going to make 10 times the profit when you hit your exit price. But you're not going to make more money by just taking on the same position size and adjusting leverage. Leverage only means how much margin you have to apply to a position. So if you increase the leverage slider to the right, the amount of margin or collateral you need to give to the exchange to borrow money from them to take on a position size decreases. So you can use leverage to put up smaller amounts of money to take on a larger position size than you would otherwise be able to, or you can use margin responsibly to be able to free up your capital to take other trades and not have it all allocated to one trade. This is why trading on platforms like ByBit is more attractive than taking a trade on Binance, because on Binance, all of your capital is locked up in margin to the trade. On ByBit, you only have to put up 10%, 50%, 33% of that. And that is what allows us to have a little bit more freedom. So we can withdraw funds potentially. This is how I do it because I use leverage responsibly. I keep my funds in cold storage and only keep on ByBit what I need to trade the value of that money in cold storage. So that is the answer to your question. Because, and again, to answer your second question there, you have to actually increase your position size, right? Moving leverage around won't do anything. You have to use that leverage to do something if you do want to get more return on your trade. You have to actually take on the larger trade by changing the quantity. The box that says quantity is your position size. Adjusting leverage will not adjust your position size. Adjusting leverage only changes how much margin you have to put up to take that position size. Yep, thank you for pointing that out, Ricky. So, Mario, I would recommend, I just uploaded a video last week called Bitcoin Margin Trading, Leverage, Margin, and Shorting Explained by a Professional Trader. It's on our Trading Crypto 101 playlist. I recommend you go check that out because I explain a lot of that in a little bit more nuance and detail in that video. Okay, let's go to Litecoin. Litecoin over on Coinbase. Again, looks very similar to Ethereum. A rejection from the daily baseline, a lower high with a higher low. Again, consolidation pattern. Generally, a symmetrical pattern like that, as you will hear from pattern traders, does resolve to the direction of the dominant trend. And the dominant trend in this case is going to be to the downside. Now, the way that I view this, since I know that pattern trading does not come with a statistical edge, the way that I look at this is, okay, we have a higher low, but a lower high. So that's a fairly unclear signal. So whenever I have an unclear signal, which is what I think, really, this is what pattern traders mean by symmetrical, right? Symmetrical, a symmetrical triangle, a symmetrical wedge, a symmetrical anything, right? Where you are getting higher lows, but lower highs. All that means is that the signal is unclear. Like the market seems to be moving in one direction, but then changes around on you. What that means is that the state of the market is uncertain. That's really what pattern traders mean to say when they talk about these symmetrical patterns. All it means is that the signal, the direction of the future direction of the market is unclear. Therefore, we default to what the trend is, and the trend is bearish to the downside. So that is all this. Again, there is no mystical magic mumbo jumbo behind pattern trading. Heads and shoulders, cups and handles, Fibonacci's. You will not hear that stuff if you go onto the floor of a professional trading firm or a prop shop. You don't hear that. The top trader in a firm doesn't come in and say to their manager, Bob, there's a Head and Shoulders forming on Starbucks, man. We better buy. They would get laughed out of the office, man. There's no studies have been done on this. There's no statistical edge. There's no statistical edge in trading patterns. And again, I don't mean this to be any offense. I've traded every single way under the sun. I've traded fibs. I've traded subjective price action. I've traded spirals. I've looked at GANs, moon cycles. Shout out to my buddy over there in Manchester. And none of it had a good statistical edge for me. It all came down to too much subjectivity. I don't want subjectivity in my analysis because subjectivity is the root of emotion, and emotion is the root of bad trading decisions. I want my system to be objective and verifiable and backtestable, like a machine. And that's why I trade the way I trade now. So anyways, looking at Litecoin, the most recent signal on Litecoin was actually a short signal. The Wada-Atar explosion did not confirm. Wada-Atar is basically keeping us out of any trade on the Litecoin dollar pair. On the daily, as you can see, Wada-Atar is printing columns underneath the explosion level, i.e. we're not really looking to take a trade. Of course, there was a good short signal from Minx because Minx is a very sensitive indicator. And I don't really see a whole lot to do here. This is definitely, as I said, symmetrical pattern, which means the signal is unclear. Definitely a time to just wait and hold back on Litecoin, in my opinion. And you even Gart, bro? Morse code, good to see you, my friend. Let's go look at the Litecoin-Bitcoin pair. The Litecoin-Bitcoin pair, on the other hand, putting in some decent activity, but just as with the rest of the majors, I'm still looking to be bullish on altcoins. I think this is a reactionary pullback, and we're going to see, as I said yesterday, I'm not sure, I'm not calling for an alt season or anything like that. But again, we did have some fantastic bullish activity following the show yesterday, some very good profitable trades, still holding on to some of those trades. And again, all we're seeing is a little bit of a pullback to the primary baseline, I think, on a lot of our major BTC pairs. So this is pretty good in my opinion. Now, if we break back down below the daily baseline, then that'll just be rejection. We'll consolidate for a little bit more and we'll see what the market brings us. Just because Bitcoin dominance is dropping does not necessarily mean that we're going to have an alt season, because the money can just as easily flow into stable coins and investors can be too scared to pick up altcoins. It can happen. It's happened before. But if we see Tether dominance not rise so dramatically, Bitcoin dominance continue to fall, and other dominance continue to rise, then I think we're going to see some bullish activity for altcoins. But again, keep in mind that this does not bode well for the long term, not for the long term, but for I would say the next 3 to 6 months of Bitcoin's price. It likely means that we're going to stagflate with Bitcoin's price, that we're going to see decline, that we're going to see a pullback to a significant level of support, potentially on the weekly, looking at that $6,500 to $8,500 mark, and consolidate before the next bullish leg up, just as we did back in 2016, 2017. Nope. So remember, hedging. So keep this in mind. This is very important, Morse code. When you deposit funds onto ByBit or BitMEX or Deribit, you are already long. Being long, and again, please, you got to go watch that video, margin trading, because this is such a fundamental misunderstanding of what hedging actually means. By holding Bitcoin on an exchange or in a private or in a cold wallet or on a ledger, it doesn't matter. You are already long. You are already long the dollar value of however much you spent to buy that quantity of Bitcoin in the first place. You are long that amount. It is the same as if you didn't actually have any Bitcoin and you were able to deposit dollars onto BitMEX or ByBit, and you went long the quantity of contracts equal to the number of BTC that you have, equal to the number of Satoshis that you have. So you're already long. So going short the dollar value of your Bitcoin is hedging. You don't open up a long position. You already have a long position opened up by holding Bitcoin in the first place. So if you're holding Bitcoin, then you will not, then the quantity of Bitcoin that you have will not change unless you buy or sell, right? Because in that example where you're holding Bitcoin, BTC is your base currency, and the value of that BTC against the dollar will fluctuate based on the current exchange rate of the BTC USD market. Okay, so in the scenario where you're holding Bitcoin, which means you're long, your Bitcoin value or amount or quantity remains constant unless you do something like buy or sell, but your dollar value of that BTC will fluctuate, right? When you go short and operate from cash, when you hedge, you have flipped the table. So the dollar value that you have is locked in, but the BTC quantity that you have will now change based on an inverse relationship between the BTC and USD markets. That's why BitMEX and other platforms like that are inverse futures contracts, right? Inverse futures contracts. So by going short, you lock in USD or your dollar or your fiat as your base currency, and now the quantity of BTC you have. So for example, if you have $1,000 on ByBit and you go short $1,000, it does not matter if price goes up 100 or 1,000 or $10,000. You will lose no dollars. You will lose Bitcoin, but you will now have less Bitcoin that is worth more. So you will have the same dollar value as you started with, right? And if price goes down, you will have the same dollar value, but you will have more BTC, meaning if you then cover at a lower price and price goes back up, you will have made money because you now have more Bitcoin. I know that ByBit is going to add coin swapping, and I do have an announcement. So by the end of this week, I think, or maybe one more week, ByBit should be finished with TradingView integration. So we will be able to access our ByBit charts on TradingView. So pretty excited about that. Okay, so let's get over into BNB, which is our latest addition to the morning scan, and then we'll do Forex. So we'll go to break. We'll come back and we'll break down the latest Ethereum scam and a lot more. Got a lot to talk about today. Okay, so BNB USDT on the daily, couple days of downside, and again, price is bearish. If we look at what we have that same jaws of the crocodile pattern, breakdown, pullback. We're back. We were briefly in the jaws of the crocodile, but that doesn't matter to me. Before we have the baseline cross under, that is the jaws of the crocodile. This is just a retouch of resistance and rejection, and now currently back testing the daily baseline and rejecting. As much as I like BNB and as much as that strategy is still on the table to be guapping up some BNB shortly before when it's cheap and then selling it right before the daily candle close, I think it's still a strategy on the table. I think obviously we've had a couple days of suppressed BNB price or deflated BNB price. But again, that strategy is still on the table for me. Trade that with risk, trade that with caution. But I don't see anything in here that would make me want to take a trending signal. Again, as we can see, higher low currently. And again, this isn't a confirmed low, a higher low, but higher low and lower high. So again, very unclear pattern. Definitely a time to just not make a decision on BNB USDT. BNB BTC, on the other hand, not looking too bad. So we got that nice strong long signal on BNB on this candle, which closed below the baseline, invalidating the trade. But 2 candles later, we would have gotten the long signal on BNB right here. And again, we would have been in for a nice ride. Pull back to the daily baseline. I can see BNB BTC running up here and tagging the secondary baseline at the very minimum. So again, jaws the crocodile pattern from below. That is foreshadowing of a potential baseline crossover, which would be quite bullish for BNB BTC. And again, this wasn't the pump that we deserved, but it was the pump that we needed. So let's go, guys. Mario says, I get it. What I don't understand is why use leverage when there is a liquidation risk plus fees versus doing cross leverage, which has no liquidation in the same profits. So there is a liquidation price with cross margin. The reason you probably don't think there is because you're not taking a large enough position size to incur risk. But the worse your trade does, the higher your margin will be put into the trade. So either you're trading, people who don't see a liquidation price are trading with very low position sizes relative to their capital on deposit. No. Mario, so if your collateral is $300 and I 10x leverage, I profit off a $3,000 position. In that situation, yes, because the way that you worded it. So your collateral, your margin would be, if your margin is $300. But again, stop worrying about margin and all that stuff. Just focus on position size, right? So your position size should be based on something that allows you to know what your risk is up front. So if your stop loss gets hit, what percent of your account are you going to lose? That should be 1 to 3%. I recommend starting with 1 and upgrading to 2. But yes, if your margin in the trade is $300 and you are at 10x leverage, then you would by default have a $3,000 position size open. Yes. But great questions, man. Thank you so much. Again, this topic of margin trading is so, a lot of people, it's a stumbling block for a lot of people. And I want to make sure that I can convey the best information possible, because margin and leverage appropriately used is a powerful tool, especially with the access to leverage that we can get on platforms like ByBit and BitMEX. It really is a godsend for traders. But inappropriately used, like most people use it, unfortunately, it can be very dangerous. Used appropriately, it allows us to reduce our risk. Used inappropriately, take my money. Okay. All right, so we are going to switch over to our Forex analysis. Before we do that, as traders, selecting our exchange is going to be one of the most important decisions that we make. And I'm often asked as a professional what metrics I use to evaluate an exchange on whether or not I feel comfortable depositing capital there. It's very important, the decision that we make. My answer is always the same. There are 3 metrics I use to evaluate an exchange, and that is security, ease of use, and customer service. Now, I personally have moved the majority of my funds over to ByBit. And I can't say this enough. I mean, I hate being like a writer on this channel, but I talk about ByBit because I genuinely like ByBit. I like their team. I like their staff. I really like their customer service. I was just talking about this last night. Kraken outsources their customer service to Zendesk. There's no excuse for that, right? On every professional trading exchange out there, in Forex, in stocks, if I have an issue, I can pick up the phone and call customer service and talk to somebody, right? These crypto exchanges are bringing in millions of dollars per year. There is no excuse for them to not have somebody that you can talk to when you have a problem. There's no excuse. They don't have the volume of customers that these larger exchanges do, and they're making more in profit margin. There's no excuse. And I think, unfortunately, that lack of customer service is a reason why there is such a fear of larger traders that I know, for example, of coming and trading on these exchanges. It's not that they don't want to trade crypto, it's that they don't trust these exchanges. There's nobody they can talk to. And that is the exchange's fault. And that is a barrier to adoption. So, exchanges, stop being cheap, stop outsourcing your customer service to Zendesk, hire some good people, hire a live chat, and get your customers the care they deserve. That's why I trade on ByBit, by the way. So if you guys would like to check out ByBit for yourself, you can go to bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. If you use that link, they will give you up to $60 in margin to test their platform out. So if you'd like to take the Pepsi Taste Challenge and see why I have a distaste for BitMEX and why I like ByBit, you guys can use that link. Again, that's bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. Let's get over into our Forex analysis and see how I'm doing in the market today. Nice green day from our altcoins. All right, going over to the Aussie yen. Make sure I am logged into a Wanda Live down here, which I am. Okay, Aussie yen, no signal on the Aussie yen. Aussie dollar, I did take the Aussie dollar short last night, as you guys can see, or yesterday afternoon, shortly after the show. Entered my trade on the signal right here, short signal and from Wadatar. Very nice movement to the downside. Has not hit my first take profit yet, so we will just hold that trade open. Let's see, how many pips is that? Up about 31 pips so far on the day on that trade. Canadian Swissy. Giving us a little bit of a fake out to the downside. Again, here was a good profitable move in here. You can actually see that I entered and took profit on that very same candle, entered on the close and took profit on that same trade. Nothing so far to do right here. We do have a potential close above the baseline, but WADA is bearish, Minx is bearish. There's nothing to do on the Canadian Swissy. The Canadian yen, this trade is currently in drawdown for me right now. Entered, got a decent signal the other evening. I've actually held this trade open for a while. You can see where I entered here and held this open through this basically consolidationary period. Price breaking back up above the baseline. We'll see if it's a rejection or if this is going to be an exit signal on the Canadian yen. Let's see here. The Swissy yen. Look at that. Proper stop loss placement on that baby right there. I mean, just like 2 pips, man. But again, good, because look at the buyback pressure on the Swissy yen. Not getting an exit signal yet. We are getting a short. And again, if price does close like this, I'll exit the trade, but at a very small loss compared to what it could have been if you were a panic seller and trading this on lower time frames. So again, Euro Aussie, nothing to do right now on the Euro Aussie. Price is teasing it, closing back above the daily baseline, but Minx has not turned, nor has Wada Atar. The Euro CAD, nothing to do. The Euro Swissy, nothing to do. I'd be looking for that re-short entry right here, testing resistance. The Euro Kiwi, kind of the same thing. The Euro Pound, again, already took 50% profit down here. Price having a little bit of a pullback. I don't have the exit signal yet, so I'll just continue to let this winner run. Euro Yen, again, be looking for that re-entry into the short. Euro Dollar, nothing to do right now. The Pound Kiwi, nothing to do right now. I ended up taking the Pound Kiwi short on a reversal trade. Price is coming back up to the tertiary baseline, so we'll see if I was justified in that or not. Might have pulled the trigger a little too early on that one. Pound CAD, nothing to do right now. Did not take this long signal yesterday, and for good reason, as you guys can see, because my volume indicator did not confirm. So we'll see what it says on today's close. Pound Swissy, nothing to do yet. Pound Yen, looks like we might be getting a Pound Yen long here pretty soon. Pound Dollar, nothing to do. Kiwi Dollar, nothing to do. Kiwi CAD, nothing to do. And again, this was a trade that I was long in. Had my stop loss at break even, and we did hit that break even. So again, out with profit on that trade. Kiwi Swissy, nothing to do. Kiwi Yen, nothing to do. Dollar CAD, took the Dollar CAD long in profit on this trade. Still waiting for it to actualize appropriately. Pound Aussie, nothing to do on the Pound Aussie, although I will say we are getting a potential long signal on today's candle. So let's look at the Pound Aussie at today's close. The Dollar Swissy is throwing in a nice long signal coming up to tag the 55 exponential moving average. So this is going to be on pullback watch for the next day. The Dollar Swissy is on pullback watch. The Dollar Yen was on pullback, was on long watch. I didn't take that trade yesterday, and now I'm wishing that I did. The Dollar Yen, I wonder why I missed that one. Aussie Canadian is giving us a short today, but it's unconfirmed by WADA, so we will wait. The Aussie Swissy will wait on. And the Dollar Yuan. All right, so overall, not a bad day. Closed out a couple winners in drawdown on about 3 trades. Again, I've got about 7 active positions right now. Still up. Again, I think that the last 2 days I've mostly broke even. So still up for the month, 10% on my starting balance with my Forex trading. Very happy about the results so far of my Forex trading. Again, I was shooting for 5%. I was being conservative and shooting for 5% per month. But again, 10% would be happy on, better months. I've pulled in more than 30 to 40% on better months. Those are really, really great overperforming months. Again, I think that it's not unrealistic for a consistently profitable trader to be averaging about 10 to 15% per month trading Forex, again, with the right system. But there's going to be a lot of months where you're just locking in that 5 to 10, and that's absolutely fine. Again, it's all about diversification and growing that balance over time. You have to remember that 5% a month is outperforming the market by a vast amount of money. The market returns anywhere from 8 to 12% per year. So if you are beating that, you are seeking alpha, you are achieving alpha, and you are beating the market. And again, as something that I say so many times, right? And we're going to go to break right after I talk about this. People in this space tend to have the shortest time horizons and the most unrealistic expectations, because you're going to get people that snort their nose at what I just said. Like, yeah, man, I consistently lock in 5% per month ROI. Do you have any idea like what overperformance that is on the market? Do you have any idea how much wealth that generates over a 10, 15, 20 year span? Right? But people are like, oh man, that's not 100% in fucking 1 hour like an altcoin, man, that I could have gone all in on. Don't take investment advice from those people. Don't take advice from those people. They have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea how to build wealth. They are most likely living in their mother's basement and hoping they can catch a big lick so that they can get a nicer gaming computer. On this channel, we are about building sustainable, long-term income that you can dedicate your life to that will form your own level of financial freedom and independence. The freedom to, as I tweeted the retweet this morning, I can adjust the thermostat anytime I want. I can sleep whenever I want. I can wake up whenever I want. I can go wherever I want. I can take vacation wherever I want. I am financially independent, and it was because I have put in and continue to put in the hard work and discipline necessary to be non-reliant on anybody else's decisions or money. And it is absolutely possible for everyone watching this to do this if they just apply the same metrics, if they just become disciplined and invest and save their money wisely and trade with a consistently profitable strategy. Again, even if you don't want to trade, the investment opportunity is there. Investing your money wisely is how all wealthy individuals maintain their wealth. They allow money to work for them, whereas individuals that do not learn how to make money work for them typically live paycheck to paycheck at a job they don't like. Which future do you want? It's pretty clear for me. Anyways, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about the latest Ethereum scam. Scam. So we definitely want you guys to be protecting yourself. We're going to go over a breaking Bitcoin, a cracking cryptocurrency in-house blog post about how Trump will either get on the Bitcoin train or get booted out of office from our very own Joseph Jankowski. We're going to talk about a lot more. We're going to talk about a lot more, guys. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. And get your user-submitted chart requests in the chat so I know what to look at when we get done with the news. Thank you guys so much for holding through the break, and we've got a fantastic second hour for you guys today. We're starting off with an in-house blog post from our very own Joseph Jankowski. Trump will either get on Bitcoin train or get booted out of office, according to Trace Mayer. Make sure you guys go check this out at the crackingcryptocurrency.com blog. Also, make sure to leave comments on the blog and share it around. That really lets us know that you enjoy these articles, that you want to see more of them in the future, and that you enjoy the work that our blog authors and our content creators are doing. Make sure also, if you guys want to support the author, that you give a shout out. There's actually a thing on here to give a tip. It goes directly to Joe. This is how he makes his living. He is an author. He's previously worked for InfoWars, and he's quite a talented individual. So if you guys want to support his content, make sure to support people who are providing good quality content wherever you are. This goes right in hand with what I talked about yesterday as well. So Trump will either come to support Bitcoin or risk getting booted out of office, according to Trace Mayer. So Trace Mayer, if you guys don't know, is a Bitcoin OG. He is host of the Bitcoin Knowledge podcast. It's quite a fantastic podcast. If you guys have never heard of it or listened to it, I recommend that you go do that. So in the midst of a 2020 election incoming and Bitcoin coming up upon its halving event, any negative measures taken against Bitcoin on behalf of the presidency could set the stage for millions of Americans to turn against their sitting president. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about Trump, but it's my knowledge, actually, it kind of depends, kind of falls on two sides of the aisle. People seem to be split on this. A lot of Bitcoiners, a lot of people who are Bitcoin maximalists tend to be very pro-Trump, and a lot of people who are ETH maximalists or fall on the other spectrum of the aisle, who are more cryptocurrency in general, and from what I've observed, tend to fall more toward the left side of the spectrum and are either anti-Trump or agnostic. I find the most intelligent people are the people who are politically agnostic, who realize that, of course, leadership is important and these decisions matter, but ultimately the future that we are trying to bring ourselves toward is one in which our leaders matter as thought leaders, but their power should not, because we should be de-investing our leaders from authority, from power, and decentralizing that authority back into the lives of individuals to have the power to control their own lives and make their own decisions. So this, if Trump were to make a negative precedent for Bitcoin, either through legislation or even through just his, even through his boisterousness, through his opinion, could negatively tip the emotions of millennials, millennials are now stepping into the voting ring with full force as they displace baby boomers for the first time as the primary voting bloc. Millennials are obviously far more fond of Bitcoin than any other age group, with a surge of interest in this demographic going from 42% of millennials who were interested in cryptocurrency in 2017 to a whopping 60% in 2019. So with the election right around the corner, Bitcoin has the potential to make a splash in our election cycle as the determining factor. And I know who will get my vote, individuals who are more bullish on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. But that's not the only factor. You can't let just your feelings on cryptocurrency influence your entire position on politics. A lot of things matter. And again, your own personal vote is your own decision. All I ask you to do is to do your research and to vote intelligently and to vote. That is your power. People say that voting doesn't work, but you can't actually influence the system. It does work. The system's not perfect, but it is a system. So make sure to go check this article out. And as I said, share it around and support the content creator. Let us know that you want to see more in-house stuff like this. You can find this at krakencryptocurrency.com/blog. Okay. Now on to the big news of the day. If you're wondering what the headline of today's title was, if you're wondering why Ethereum transactions were so slow this morning, find the link. Here we go. So, if you were wondering why Ethereum transactions were so slow this morning, look no further than the newest cryptocurrency scam in the form of the MGC token. This is known as the Magic Gold Coin, the Myanmar Gold Coin, and more Gold Coin, not to mention a few other names. This morning, a smart contract spent $962,000 in transaction fees in GUI, about 20 cents per GUI per transaction, to airdrop this token to more than 365,000 Ethereum addresses. So this is likely showing up in your address if you have an Ethereum wallet. Now, this is a known scam. This is a known scam. They have already scammed 33,000 Ethereum, apparently. So the way that this scam works, and again, I've got a lot of documentation to support this and prove this. So to access your MGC token and do anything with it, they will require you, if you go to their website, to download their wallet to your mobile device. And when you are setting up your mobile device, they will ask you to input your Ethereum private keys, after which they will siphon your Ethereum. So also, another thing to point out from the tweets that I did some research on, coming from harrydentley.eth over here on Twitter, he says, am I reading this correctly? They airdrop MGC tokens to people, get them to download the MGC wallet to do something with the tokens, and then steal the keys that people use in their MGC wallet, because they're going to ask you to import your Ethereum private keys. Now, on top of this, a little bit more disconcerting in this Twitter thread is Harry Dentley goes through the code. And he finds that not only are they stealing your Ethereum private keys, but there is a web view of all the application processes, and they are storing memetics in the backend. That's a huge no-no, by the way. So basically, in simpler terms, they're not only stealing your Ethereum, they're also stealing all of your personal data on your mobile as well. So stay far away from this. If you have this MGC in your wallet, just burn it. So send it to an address that doesn't exist or ignore it. You're not in danger by holding it. They're just hoping you try to access it to do something with the token, which you cannot do anything, so that they can try and scam you out of your funds. And again, all the links to all this documentation will be in the show notes, which you can always access at breakingbitcoin.money. Here is a chain news thread from China that I ended up using Google Translate on. Apparently, this MGC token was previously involved in an IM token wallet scam. Ended up stealing all the IM token from individuals as well on top of their Ethereum. And again, all these links will be in the show notes. But again, huge public service announcement. If you come across this token, if you see anything about this token, it is a known scam. It is going on today. It is active right now. Do not download any MGC software. Do not install any MGC software to your phone. That is a huge, big no-no. Again, as I said, not only are they going to try and steal your Ethereum private keys to steal your Ethereum, but they're also going to be monitoring what goes on your phone should you install the software. So be very careful about this and make sure to spread this information around. This is very important. We are very critical on spammers and scammers and cheaters and liars on this channel. We try to be as ethical and honest as we can. And so for this, I mean, these people deserve a certain seventh layer of hell. So protect your funds, protect your wallet, protect your Ethereum, and do not do anything fishy with this MGC scam that is going around. And funny enough, the team members are named Abercrombie and Springsteen Brain. And apparently there are, so here is their website. And as you can see, Abercrombie is one of their members right here. And then Springsteen Brain, this is an obvious scam, and they're trying to have a little bit of sense of humor about it. So this is the new BitConnect. So be very, very careful about this. There's a lot of information about this going on Twitter today, and I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. Apparently, there's also a video with these guys recording their scam and doing something. They are claiming that their token is going to be used for something about like neural networks or AI or some nonsense like this. It says right here. Yeah, it says its white paper makes for a bizarre read with phrases like MGC token smart wallet has its own hematopoietic function. A Google search reveals hematopoietic is a medical term for how the body creates blood from stem cells. Third, it looks to have staged a marketing video, which has since been removed, and a corresponding photo shot entitled "No text, just look at the picture, MGC token global users pass happiness." So people are wondering, why would they spend over $1 million almost to send all this Ethereum out? Because they're going to get that much in Ethereum back. It's a scam. Beware. Abercrombie and biatch. All right. Let's see here. One other thing that I'll throw out that I'd like to talk about is the latest from the basic attention token world out there, which is users can now withdraw their basic attention token from their Brave browser. So Uphold now will allow users to move their BAT from the browser integrated wallet after completing verification. So, we've been waiting, BAT users have been waiting very impatiently for this for quite a long time. And now Uphold, which is the basic attention token online wallet of choice, web wallet of choice, will now allow you to do this. So if you guys have an Uphold account, you can move that BAT directly in your Uphold account and vice versa, back and forth. So again, I think this is pretty awesome, especially for those of you who are out there using BAT to tip content creators such as myself. Again, you can tip us BAT at the top if you want. Also allows you to watch the show on YouTube with no ads. We are a Brave verified publisher. And again, I think that basic attention token, regardless of what happens with the value of the token, I think is a fantastic platform and a fantastic project. And I'm very supportive of what they're doing, trying to clean the internet up in the world of advertisement, because I don't like the way that things are. And honestly, advertisement is not a bad thing. Any company, anybody who's putting themselves out there online needs advertisement to grow, to reach customers with knowledge that they would want to receive. Again, The market is there to facilitate willing sellers and willing buyers. And advertisement is not a bad thing. But unfortunately, just the way that advertisement has been done, it's become a nuisance. It's become cloggy. You know, companies throw millions of dollars every year just to have their advertisement somewhere. They have no idea whether that advertisement is hitting their targeted users. And I think that what basic attention token is doing does fill a gap in the market, does solve a pain point that is a vital and valuable business model. It's such good coffee. It's Verena Street. It's Verena Street, or however you pronounce it. Mississippi grog. It is so delicious. Okay. You know, there's other stuff to talk about, but nothing that really caught my eye today. Nothing that really caught my eye today, guys. So we're just going to do chat engagement, and we're going to look at chats for the next little bit, guys, before we wrap up today. Before we move into user-submitted chart requests, as a professional trader, it is absolutely essential that I have full control over all of my positions. Platforms like Binance, Coinbase Pro, and Bittrex, even though they're fantastic for providing us access to liquidity and active markets, they do lack essential features for any serious trader. Now, whether that's setting a trailing stop loss or a take profit and a stop loss simultaneously, the infamous plague of Binance, they still haven't fixed that up. And again, doubling back on my issue with Kraken, when Zendesk outsourcing, there's no excuse for these exchanges not to have advanced order features. But for me, because my income relies on having access to the correct features that I need to trade profitably, I absolutely need them. And the platform that I use to access these features is 3 Commas. 3 Commas is the leading industry in providing retail traders access to professional tools. They have a very simple, easy to use platform. If you guys would like to check out 3 Commas, you can go to 3commas.krakencryptocurrency.com. If you use that link, not only will it provide you with a free trial of the 3 Commas platform so you can decide if you'd like to use it for yourself, but it will also give you a 10% discount off any package that you choose. Again, that's 3commas.krakencryptocurrency.com to use the same tools that we use in the premium trading group. Okay, so having said that, let's get over into the chat. Let's get over into the chat and engage with you guys, answer some of your live questions, and look at the charts that you guys would like to look at. So let's flip over. Get back over into the analytics scene. Everything looking good. This, by the way, is what I have on my big screen in my office all day long. These are the major markets that I monitor. Malicious. Are we going to see some MGC bots in here now? Buy now. Amazing, awesome, sweetness. Yeah, Bitcoin users want Ron Paul for sure, man. Morse code says 5% in crypto is a scalp. I can do that in 2 minutes. What's a realistic for a crypto trader over a month or year? So, for example, the month of May, I returned 46.6% on my total equity. So when you say 5% in crypto is a scalp, again, we have to be very careful about, not careful, but we have to be very clear about the terms that we're using. So if you put your entire account balance into a scalp trade, then you are going to run into problems. You are going to catch the wrong end of that spear. So for example, if you made 5% on a scalp trade, again, the short-sighted way of looking at that is like, if I would have just gone all in, I'd have 5% more money now. That's the wrong way to look at it. You have risked your entire account on a scalp. You don't do that. You position size based on your account balance to risk a certain amount of your account per the scalp. So returning a 5% ROI on a trade and generating 5 to 15 to 20% per month on your total equity is something completely different. That is doubling your money every year at least, and is something that generally almost no regular trader does in any other traditional asset class. Chad says, can we look at the MGC charts? I don't even know if this thing's listed anywhere. Let's go do some investigation. Yep. On all the popular scam exchanges. It's on Hotbit. Okay. I don't know, man. I mean, that alt's really oversold, dude. Must be a good buy. Bad. Um, it's worth about 20 cents. EOS Bitcoin? Yeah, sure, man. Thank you, Brett Trapone, for the request. Yeah, so EOS Bitcoin was on that larger chart of mine, so this is something I've been watching at, but we will look at the longer time frame here. The first thing that I want to point out is you can see the lines on my chart. This was from an analysis that I did previously, and I talked about this level of support being broken back in the day, if you guys will recall, just back to a few weeks ago when I was talking about this level. And then I talked about our next order block being right here. And again, order block theory, look exactly where price wicked to, wicked right down into the order block. One would have likely not gotten a full fill on this block, again, having their bias staged or laddered throughout this buy zone. But again, anybody that's snagged up in the order block would have done quite well, currently sitting up about 30%. EOS BTC was a trade we took to the upside. I ended up making anywhere from 7 to 9% on that trade. It was a good trade for our traders. We can go see the, we actually took the 12-hour setup on this bad boy. No, I'm sorry, I believe it was the 4-hour setup. It was a continuation trade on EOS U19 anyways, is where we took the trade. That concluded yesterday. Our trailing stop loss got hit on this movement to the downside. So anyways, good trade, man. BTC flash crash hasn't happened yet. PNW Flipper says, I do apologize. I missed the beginning part of the show. Are we still showing a bearing trend since we keep having a lower bottom and should keep holding and with no short trades? So I'm in a short. Yes, I still have a bearish perspective on Bitcoin. Correct. So I don't hold when price is bearish. EOS Bitcoin. let's bring back our indicators and let's look at this baby objectively on the daily. So we have closed above the primary on this candle and the tertiary on this candle. Pull back to the tertiary baseline. You know, where are we looking for an ultimate profit target on EOS BTC? Should we have some nice bullish activity? Well, we're obviously looking up here at the secondary baseline, which is about 25% above current price at the moment. We are coming off the heels of this baseline cross under. This is a good opportunity for us to take a look at the VPCI. And what we are looking for in VPPCI to signal a bottom is somewhat of a V bottom, or to see price trending down to the downside and to see the VPCI rising, which we do see here. This is the zero lag VPCI, so we can see the trend, the volume initiating price movement to the downside rising, and that often indicates that the trade is good, but that we should be on the lookout for a local bottom soon. And as we can see here, we have price moving up with our zero lag confirming that movement, meaning there is good volume behind the trend. We don't have a daily signal. We got the daily signal to go long yesterday, actually. We don't have the signal from Wadatar explosion yet. And again, regular VPCI is falling, but zero lag is rising. So overall, I quite like the setup. EOS is going to be one of the ones that I'm looking to establish longer positions on as soon as we get a nice kind of touch off of this area. And again, EOS is definitely on the, if I were speculating on altcoins, which I am, EOS is definitely on my watch list for another good signal. Again, got the long signal yesterday. Pull back to the tertiary baseline. So again, this represents our buy zone right here between the primary and the tertiary right now. And I think there's good opportunity right there. Again, if EOS BTC fails, then the rest of the alt markets are going to be bearish. But again, I think that EOS is going to be one of the overperformers should we get the alt season. Maybe not that we deserve, but the alt season that we need. So yeah, let's go down to some lower time frames and look for some decent setups. On the 12-hour, again, consolidation in the jaws of the crocodile right here. Let's go to the, now on the 12, we did get that nice, beautiful long signal right here, WADA confirmation. If we go over to our original long signal, which occurred right here, that would have been a losing trade right here, but then we got to re-enter right here on that WADA confirmation and price closing back above the baseline, and that was a beautiful setup for the 12-hour. Again, this was basically the trade that we took. Go down to the 4-hour. Do I see a re-entry right now? I actually don't. I would actually expect us to make a lower high and a lower low. So I'd like to see a pullback down to, again, the 4-hour buy zone right here between the primary and tertiary, maybe somewhere around 43.7 and 44.6 is where I'd be looking to establish a new position. Or, as I said, just looking at the daily and saying that this is a good opportunity to establish a position. So it just matters on the time frame that you're trading. But for me, for alts, if we are going to get some nice bullish alt activity, this one would represent a good trade to the upside. Comments on Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin's recent comments on Bitcoin in 10 years. Yeah, his comments don't really matter. He's just rah, rah, rah. I mean, I think that if Steve Mnuchin actually does feel that way, then he's incredibly out of touch. And it does remind me of the quote from back in the day where I think it was JP Morgan or something like that. I can't remember. Or it was what's his face from JP Morgan. Come on, guys, help me out. What's the dude's name? Jamie Dimon. Yeah, Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon saying that, in like 10 years, we'll see that the effect of the internet on the economy will have no more effect than like the fax machine did, or something like that, some nonsense comment or quote like that. It just shows somebody who's completely out of touch with technology and what the trend is. But who can blame him? I mean, he's a representative of the United States government. The United States government is dependent upon the hegemony of the United States dollar. He's not going to say anything, positive about Bitcoin being a competition to fiat currency. That he's not going to do that. So it doesn't really surprise me. His comments are absolutely meaningless because it's just rah, 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 American dollar awesome. Andrew says, I've always had buy orders for ETH, Bitcoin, and Litecoin for next to nothing in case of a flash crash on Coinbase. I would recommend, bro, that you do that on Kraken. You're looking for an exchange that likes to flash wick. Kraken. 5x leverage, bro. Metal BTC. Let's check her out. Metal BTC on the daily, we got the long signal that was unqualified 2 days ago. We did get the qualified long signal on the close of yesterday's candle. So again, this is a valid long signal. So let's go to, and let's look at what VPCI is doing. Regular VPCI is flat. Zero lag, on the other hand, it does have a falling trend below the zero line. So that does concern me. And let's bring in Quadriga, though, to look at our targets. Average true range. So we would be looking at targets off of that trade of 44.51, 47.89, and 51.28 potentially. So basically, you know, in the longer run, just looking for a break above that tertiary baseline and a run up to the secondary baseline. Forza World TV, my bad, man. I'm having problems with my restream, but I see you over there, my good man. Restream test. Yeah, I'm having issues getting YouTube on the restream for some reason. Thoughts on Nano long term or the recent pump, 20% from last week? Nano signaled a good long signal. Am I officially partnered with 3 commas or are they a show sponsor? Neither, actually. I just like 3 commas and I recommend it. Chris Ventures, man, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel with Prime, my good man. Welcome to the community. Thank you so much, and welcome into the inner circle of Twitch subs, my good buddy. Sorry I missed you about 9 minutes ago. Again, my my restream is being whack-a-noodle today. Anything could happen. You're right, Ricky Thompson. Ferguson says, Justin, maybe talk about square ups to help the newer trader understand why the Bart Simpson happens. Yeah, sure. So squaring up literally means like settling unwinding your hedge positions, right? So say you've got multiple. So this often squaring up again in cryptocurrency is a little bit different because remember, in cryptocurrency, you're already long by default, right? You're already long just by dint of holding cryptocurrency on the market. So to hedge properly, you don't open up a long position. You already have a long position open. You already have market exposure to Bitcoin's volatility. Again, the number of Bitcoin you have won't change, but its value relative to dollars will, and that's what matters to traders the most, is its dollar value. So squaring up literally means reducing your market exposure, right? Or squaring up your long and short positions is typically what it refers to, because often in traditional markets, individuals will have long and short positions open to be hedged against volatility in either direction. And once they see a good move established, right? And so professional traders, we are generally operating from a cash basis. We're long and short simultaneously. And when we talk about Bitcoin, we're almost always short. Now, from that perspective, if we want to take trades, then we just go ahead and put on the long trade or the short trade because we're already flat our dollar value, and then we just rebalance, right? Or we square up. So so that's not really the same thing. It's not squaring up. We readjust our hedge if we made profit, and we decrease it so they're not exposed to risk. But just being hedged means you can be in the market, and it doesn't matter whether the market moves up or down. You're going to have the same amount of money. And so for most cryptocurrency traders, for most Bitcoin holders, they don't know how to do that. Leverage allows you to do that. Platforms like ByBit allow you to do that. They allow you to be operating from essentially a cash basis, and that way you can sleep at night. If you're scared that Bitcoin's price is going to drop overnight, just put on a short position. You wake up, you might have less Bitcoin, but you'll have the same amount of dollars, and you're starting fresh with a new day of trading. So squaring up occurs often before big movements in the market where investors or longer-term traders or just bigger traders are uncertain about market direction. And as a result, they are reducing their market exposure. They're closing long positions out. They're closing short positions out. They're hedging up. They're just basically reducing their market exposure. So because there's been a lot of short selling, because people are unsure about the direction of the market, means that individuals are preparing themselves, preparing large stacks and position sizes for a big move to the downside, okay? And I think that, again, I think with shorts so low and longs so high, I think longs are likely to get punished. But, you know, again, every moment in the market is unique. It could go either way. But the Bart Simpson pattern is a result of individual traders squaring up because often there's lots of volatility both ways. One way, it's not. This is why a lot of people get faked out by consolidation or ranging markets when they're looking for a trend to establish, because the market movers are squaring up. They're closing out their long positions, they're closing out their short positions, and they're getting to a cash neutral basis so that no matter which way the market moves, they're good to go. They're safe if price moves up, they're safe if price moves down. What do I think about DigiByte? I don't really have a position on that. James says, I don't dare keep my funds on an exchange. You know, I think that if you don't keep your funds on a jank exchange, you know, again, I don't want to sound like an idiot because, again, the worst could happen. But the beauty of margin is that I can keep the majority of my funds in cold storage and still trade those funds on the exchange. That is the correct use of leverage in cryptocurrency. Keep your funds safe, keep your funds safu, and use margin to take on the correct position size. Don't deposit all your money on an exchange and use leverage as an excuse to trade 10 times the amount of money you have and then wonder why you've lost all your money. BitMEX ruins lives if you use margin incorrectly. Used appropriately, it reduces risk and keeps you safe and lets you be a profitable trader. Used inappropriately, wash out lane, man. Again, that Kraken wick, man, you can use the Kraken allows up to 5x margin, so you can have 1/5 the position size on Kraken for that buy order, man. And keep the rest in cold storage. Justin, I'm only 30 minutes behind in the chat. Midwest Attempts, what's going on, brother? I don't see you. Kraken is an exchange, yep. Making me feel like a little schoolgirl. Sorry, man, what's going on, bro? What did you want me to look at? How do you avoid liquidation in doing so? You position size appropriately. And if you need to add funds to it, again, your liquidation price, if you're just hedging, your liquidation price should be fairly far away, right? And I know everybody's like, oh, your liquidation price is going to get overnight. Like the odds that that price, like it's been so long since I've ever been liquidated. So long. It's happened to me, you know, like not my entire account, but a trade, the margin in the trade has been liquidated. But, you know, I use cross margin, so it's not really an issue. And if I have to top up my margin which rarely happens because I'm generally a consistently profitable trader, then I just deposit more funds to the exchange. But again, it's position sizing, man. Everything's position sizing. Right. It's just an example. It's just an example. It's hard. You could do 2x, 3x. But even that, again, that 2x, I mean, that's 50% less money. You know, so that's pretty huge, man. Like, for example, let's say you're depositing 50% of your account to Kraken, 50%, you're using 2x leverage. Your liquidation price is miles away, something you don't have to worry about until you go look at the weekly chart, right? You know, like you're going to go on vacation, you might come back and get liquidated. And that means worst case scenario, you only lose half your money. I mean, half of your money preserved is a big difference over all of your money gone for sure. Yeah, you'd need 10x leverage to trade all of your money, but you should never have, you know, well, again, it depends on your position size, because there's sometimes we'll take a position size with leverage where we want to take a lot more. But again, I go through this in the course too, where I talk about full risk, adjusted risk, and combined risk. So depending on the situation, depending on the exchange, depending on your capital allocation, you're going to want to use a different risk. But yeah, correct. You are correct. If you wanted to trade, if you have $5,000 and you wanted to trade $5,000, you would have to deposit $500 onto ByBit and use 10x leverage. Yes. Yeah, so cross margin just means that you are going to start off using the smallest amount of margin possible, and it is assuming that and it is going to be using your available balance to add margin to the trade if the trade starts going against you. So you start off at like some ridiculous value, like let's say like, you know, 4,000x leverage, right? So you're putting pennies up into the trade. It's going to depend on your account balance, but and then if price moves against you and gets closer to your liquidation price, more margin is going to go into that trade. More margin is going to go into that trade. So if you are using cross margin and then you like withdraw funds from your account, you're going to notice that any trades that were using cross margin have gotten their liquidation prices ticked up because your liquidation prices were all calculated off of how much money you have available to put into the trade. So again, used incorrectly, if you just let a position like run all the way down and you've got a big massive trade on and you've got cross margin selected, if you go all the way down to liquidation on a cross margin trade, that is your entire account balance gone. Whereas isolated margin will only take away the margin that you've got in there, but I use cross leverage. Almost all professionals just use cross margin. We don't want to dick around with having the exchange dictate where our liquidation price is. We're well aware of managing our own trades. No problem, Goblin Moblin. Bullseye, do I use Lazy Bear's VPCI? Can you tell us how to read it and how does it backtest? No, I don't use Lazy Bear's VPCI. This is a custom VPCI. I've looked at, I haven't actually analyzed it. I don't know how Lazy Bear's VPCI backtests. I'm not 100% sure how this one backtests yet because I haven't gotten to it, but I know that just from looking at it for the few hours that I've done without running it through my backtesting process, I like what I see. It seems to give me the indications that I want. And again, you know, you have to figure out exactly what your rule set is, right? So, you know, there's a lot of ways to code this. You know, you can say, I want VPCI to be above or below a certain line. I want VPCI to be listing a certain direction, right? Or over a moving average of VPCI. There's all kinds of ways that we can do this to get a good signal. We just got to backtest it and test it and find the best thing that works. How much leverage do I use for Forex trading? 20 to 1. 20 to 1. Set it and forget it, man. I think 20 to 1 works really good. You can do like 40 if you want to keep less money on the exchange. But remember that on a Wanda, you know, the leverage works, so 40 to 1, it works just like Deribit with its 100 to 1 automatically, right? It doesn't mean, it's not like BitMEX where it's isolated margin. It's still cross margin at 100 to 1 leverage, right? It is over 9,000. Lost Zesty, thanks so much for joining the community over there on Twitch, my good man. Or gal. Get some love in the chat for Lost Zesty, guys. What is the best time frame to use with Wadatar? I mean, I love trading the daily time frame. I think you should get comfortable with trading the daily time frame and then start going down to lower time frames. The Wadatar works good on all time frames. Really, really good. It was designed for use on the 30-minute and the 1 hour, but it works good on the 4 hour, the 6, the 8, the 12, the 24, the 3-day. And it all depends on the settings that you put in there. I mean, play around with those settings. Take sensitivity all the way down to 30. Take it up to 2,000. Take it up to 8,000. What exchange do I recommend? I recommend ByBit. ByBit's, in my opinion, the best exchange out there. You know, they only have 4 coins that you can trade, but their customer service and their platform is absolutely fantastic. Never had an overload issue. Every problem anybody's ever had, to my knowledge, has been solved and refunded by customer service, for example. Fantastic platform. Beyond that, I would recommend Coinbase. Coinbase is a good place to start. Beyond that, I mean, I trade on BitMEX. Deribit's really good too. But again, I prefer ByBit wildly over both of those exchanges. And, other than that, if you're talking for your altcoin market cap, I mean, Binance, Bittrex, or Wabi, Well, same thing. I mean, if you're in the U.S., you can incorporate, in a foreign country and trade that way. It's not that expensive, depending on how much capital you got, and you can trade legally on any of these exchanges. Or, Bittrex, Wabi, you have access to in the United States. Slim pickings, man. Yeah. It's as it's hard said, use a VPN, my brother. Kraken, you can go trade on Kraken. Kraken's available to American citizens, and they have margin. All right, guys. We got a lot to do today, man, back in the office. So I think that I'm going to go ahead and wrap her up, man. Wrap her up. Thank you guys so much for some fantastic questions. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Again, thank you again for joining us. If you guys want to join the premium trading group, if you guys would like to walk through the Pathways to Profit course, if you guys would like to work with professional mentors and have access to our group, our rules, and our tools, premium.krakencryptocurrency.com to get started today. Make sure you guys go check out the podcast at breakingbitcoin.money for today's show notes and all previous show notes as well. Links to all of our applications on your favorite podcast catcher, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts. Highly appreciated if you go give us a 5-star review over there on iTunes. And for the rest of you guys, if you support the show, if you like what we do, if you want to support good content creation, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage, and hit the like button on your way out, guys. We highly appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow at noon. Until tomorrow, guys, trade safely. And if you guys would like to have a chance to win any crypto tomorrow for our random crypto comment giveaway winner, leave any comments, questions, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow at noon. Take it easy, guys. Trade safely.